Phoebe Coles is a 26-year-old British Cypriot activist and youth leader who's passionate about peace building, human rights, and youth action in Cyprus and the UK. She's a founder of two social action groups, which is Vicinus and Bubble Out, and has raised money for victims of forest fires, domestic abuse survivors, refugees, and migrants, to name a few, in Cyprus. Additionally, she's really passionate about raising awareness for human rights issues, particularly when it comes to women's rights and empowerment. And she joins me today. Hello, Phoebe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get straight into the content, shall we? Phoebe, I love how passionate you are about youth action. Tell me, when did it all start for you and what was the catalyst?
Thank you so much. I believe that the youth are the future. And it's very easy for young people to feel disillusioned and not heard, given the current political climate. But together we can have a loud voice and make a difference regarding a whole plethora of issues and topics. So when I was younger, I was involved with my local youth council. So I'm from Leicester, so it was in Whetstone Parish and Blaby District Council. And I helped create events for young people. And we also created surveys to ask them what were they passionate about, what were they interested in, and what issues were really important to them. So we had some things pop up, for example, knife crime, and some really important issues that we worked together to help solve. And this kind of started my passion for youth engagement in the UK, as I realised many young people at the time, including myself, we were often written off and labelled negatively. We were called lazy, self-absorbed, and just told that we simply don't care about issues and current affairs, when in fact I experienced the exact opposite firsthand. And I found that when young people were given the resources and opportunities and the platform to discuss issues we are passionate about, we turn up, we stand up, and we speak out. And that's what made me so inspired to see that at such a young age. And from there, after school in the UK, I moved to Cyprus with my family. Just for a disclaimer, I'm half Cypriot as well. And when I started university, I started in Cyprus. And this time in my life was the most inspiring and impactful for me regarding youth action and activism. It started when I wanted to learn more about my Cypriot culture and heritage. And I became so inspired by the incredibly passionate and creative Cypriot activists, online and offline, who are fighting for a peaceful and prosperous united island.
Yeah.
And also for human rights and equity for all. And they were so engaging, and it was so youth-led, and I found this so inspiring and just honoured to be a part of it. So it started with me following a few social media pages, and I've not looked back since. So we are such a beautifully diverse island. So we're located at the crossroads between Africa, Asia, and Europe. And I found it such a beautiful thing in Cyprus to witness young people from diverse backgrounds coming together for a common cause. And we're all adding value with fresh perspectives to projects and campaigns. And that's just something I've loved so much. So that's what's got me so excited about youth engagement.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And not least because of the reason that Legacy Project, the Global Youth Awards, was started was exactly that, was that the narrative around young people was so negative, and it was all about young people causing trouble and and not focused on these projects. That's why we highlight the awards, which obviously you won a Global Youth Award last year. So I'm excited to really hear that, Phoebe, from you. And so, obviously with all of this inspiration and moving to Cyprus and really being ignited by that, what was the very first project that you worked on, and what were the outcomes of that?
So my first project was the creation of a social action group in Cyprus with me and a few other students at the university. And it was to support refugees, specifically at a refugee camp called Kofinu. And in our humble beginnings, because it started off with a really small project, we collected donations of clothing and non-perishable foods and toys and some educational books. And at the time, we were called the Humanitarian Aid Programme, or HAP for short, but now we're known as Vicinus. And at first, we were actually inspired to create this project because we visited the camp during a school project, and we saw really dire conditions and human suffering, and we felt really compelled to even make a small difference. And from that project, we had a few great outcomes which really inspired us and encouraged us to get more involved. And that was, we collected many, many bags of great quality winter clothes, but also more importantly, we collected a great amount of menstruation products. Wow. Which at the time was in high demand at the camp. And also we collaborated with the local basketball team, and they donated a basketball, and we created a little area for the children at the camp to have a bit of playtime, because especially they have a lot of trauma, and they don't have a place for them to just be kids, to be children. And that was something that we were really happy to see them smiling and actually having fun, even if it was for a little while. And since then, we've expanded our work to raise awareness for human rights issues. As you've mentioned, raising money for domestic violence, shelters on both sides of the island. That's something really important to us. Hosting a gender conference, and again, relating it to youth engagement. That gender conference that we hosted, we provided an opportunity for young people to present their gender research to leading NGOs on the island. So that was a really cool opportunity for them. And we also raised money for toys for children in hospital and many more things. And I just wanted to say, I'm really happy to be here, because I just wanted to, if there's something that can inspire any young person, a small idea can lead to so much more greater things. Never feel that you are too insignificant or not influential enough to make a difference. Everyone has value. Everyone can contribute to our communities in a positive way. And that's something I've learned.
Oh my gosh, Phoebe, that's so inspiring. And I really love, what you're saying about things like the menstruation products and also the area for the kids play, because, people think about clothes and food, but actually human beings need so much more than that. Yeah. And menstrual poverty is a big thing. And you're absolutely right. Even the biggest oak trees come from a seed. So the truth is, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are, you can really do anything you want. And you're a shining symbol of that. So the main project that you're working on at the moment is Bubble Out. Tell us more about this particular project.
Bubble Out is a multi-communal social action group. I'm very excited to talk about it.
I can tell.
And it's focused on providing a safe space for young people across the island of Cyprus who have experienced mistreatment in any form, to share their story anonymously or otherwise in however way that they feel comfortable, but in a safe space, usually with a certified psychologist or through a number of events that we host. So there's many different ways. And it was initially created, we had a Young Leaders in Action program in Cyprus with the British Council and the United Nations. Oh, wow. And that was a peace building project. So the reason we're multi-communal is because we had the unique chance to actually work with different groups on the island and create a project together. And after that initial project, we were like, we want to carry this on. And the concept of Bubble Out, so the name Bubble Out, is a strange one. You might think, why is it called Bubble Out? And it was conceived by the idea that we often stay in our own unique bubbles. We don't really, as human beings, we don't always reach out, support, or learn from other communities. And we wanted to encourage facilitation, build bridges between the diverse communities in Cyprus. And in the context of the Cyprus problem, so in case some people don't know, the division of the island and the violence that we've experienced by multiple generations in Cyprus, we have a shared trauma and a unique experience. And by talking about these taboo subjects, we're hoping to bring people together, and by doing that, increasing empathy and understanding, and therefore contributing to peace building. So a lot of things are interlocking. It's like a knock-on effect, like a Lego. And so young people are often not financially independent, and when they try and speak about maybe mental health or try and acquiring services, they often face stigma and a lack of support. And additionally, in a patriarchal society, women often face oppression regarding their safety, and they have many more obstacles when talking about their experiences of mistreatment. So our project, we're aiming to give a voice and empowering women, specifically youth as well, and other marginalized groups, with solidarity and support for free. And we've established this platform to share people's stories and to provide support from peers and professionals. And we were inspired by our own experiences on the island, and we hoped that we would have had at that time that we needed it, a platform to just freely speak and tell the truth of how we've experienced discrimination or mistreatment on the island. And we have just a few examples I wanted to let you know of things that we've done so far, because we are still fairly a new project. We were established last year. So we hosted our first online drop-in event on Zoom in April last year, and this was with a certified psychologist, and it was called Share Your Story Online. And we managed to reach people that are normally excluded from the conversation regarding mistreatment. For example, many refugees actually joined the call, and we gained valuable insight on key issues that they highlighted: racism, sexism, xenophobia and homophobia, and how a lot of the discrimination are interlinked. And recently, again last year in June, we co-organised with an NGO called Queer Cyprus Association a thematic discussion called In It Together, Let's Talk About Pride and Hate Speech. And during that event, again moderated by a certified psychologist, the participants discussed the effects of hate speech and online harassment. And at that time, it was really important that we had that kind of event, because in the north of Cyprus, we just had an LGBT pride event, and there was a lot of backlash and a lot of hate speech online. So we wanted to provide a safe space for people to just share their concerns, their safety and their well-being. And we have an upcoming event that we're currently collaborating with a university in Cyprus, and we're going to create a roundtable discussion event about racism and racial discrimination in Cyprus.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you fit all of that into the short period of time that you just said. That all sounds fantastic, and I love the name Bubble Out. I think it's amazing, and you're right, you know, we do sort of gravitate towards our little bubbles, so to be able to you know, have that narrative and to bring people together is really, really exciting. And so it's no wonder that you won a Global Youth Award for your amazing work in 2022, and that was for the category of empowering change. So how did that feel? How did it feel to gain the recognition through the awards for that? And what would you say to anyone that's thinking of nominating a young person this year?
Thank you. I felt really shocked and surprised to win such a prestigious award. And I just feel so grateful and honoured to be recognised for my voluntary work, but also humbled to be in the same category as so many incredible young people around the world. I felt so inspired after that event and so energized to really carry on and increase my work with Bubble Out and other things. But also, I just felt that I really gained a lot of confidence in myself and self-belief, and that's why I really encourage anyone that's interested in nominating a person, even if they're nominated, it just really uplifts you and makes you think, oh, I actually am doing something, I can carry on. And it just makes you feel really more powerful than you realize that you are actually making a difference because it is being recognized. So I really do encourage people to do nominate, because it can really encourage someone to keep going with their life mission or their voluntary work.
Well, and you're a shining symbol of that, you know, and actually you are among obviously the other award winners, but also the nominees and finalists. You know, everybody who's nominated is nominated because they're doing something so incredible. But actually, you're right, you know, the likes of you on the stage and sharing your story inspires so many people, and it's an emotional, inspiring and uplifting event. And I'm sure you're going to join us for the event this year on the 18th of November in London. But you know, in terms of you know, obviously, what are your future plans for Bubble Out? It sounds like you're already doing so much, but I'm sure, Phoebe, you've got lots of plans for it. But also, what are your plans for you as a human being? What do you want to do in general?
They're two great questions. I'll start with the first one about future plans for Bubble Out. So since I created Bubble Out, I've always had the long-term objective, and I was actually inspired by a UK campaign called We Count, aiming to tackle sexual harassment in the UK. And it's basically the creation of an online platform, initially a website, but possibly an app later on, which maps out mistreatment experienced across Cyprus. And the hopes is from doing that, we would inform policy change and advocacy for human rights and education and safety on the island. So the platform would have an interactive map of Cyprus, allowing people to pin the location anonymously if they choose to where their mistreatment experience has happened. This is open to experiences across the whole island of Cyprus, again, to be inclusive. And for example, I'll just give an example of how it would be. So different types of mistreatment would be color coded. So for example, racism would be red or sexual harassment would be pink. And for people filling in the information to be pinned, there would be a short survey for them to fill out, including location, date of year, nature of mistreatment, and an option to write a bit more detail if they choose to do so. And additionally, there will be filter options for people looking on the site to find specific types of mistreatment on the map. And additionally, mistreatment incidents reported in the media will also be included in the map, but this will be noted as a secondary source, so you'll be able to see if it's self-reported or otherwise. And the platform, as I've mentioned before, we really want it to be inclusive, so this includes being available in multiple languages. So definitely English, Turkish and Greek, but also Arabic, Russian, Armenian and French, we're hoping, because we want to be representative and inclusive of all communities on the island. Also, a very key element of our project in our future, we want the platform to have a toolbox section with information about human rights, self-advocacy advice, and information including links to mental health support services and contact information to specific NGOs or experts that can provide support for survivors of mistreatment. And again, this will be not just for one side of the island, because the information needed laws will be different from both sides, so this will be inclusive for everyone. I could talk about this for a long time, but so I will try and skip over. But basically, at the moment, we're starting the longevity of the project. So we're currently researching funding opportunities. Yeah. And I just wanted to say for this opportunity, if there's anyone possibly reading or watching this interview who may be interested in contacting me or Bubble Out to discuss possible funding or supporting of this project, I will provide the Bubble Out information, including social media and email, within this article, because definitely wanted to plug that in there in case there's anyone.
Of course, definitely, and we'll make sure those links are there. So if you can help, you know someone who can, please click through and get in touch with Phoebe, because she would really appreciate that. And then how about yourself, Phoebe?
And for myself, I would love to have a career involved with human rights advocacy and peace building, obviously, but specifically I would love to work for the United Nations, and I generally just want to contribute towards a more peaceful and equitable world. But specifically, I have a passion for diplomacy, and I think that's where I would be more suited for. Yeah. And I just hope that our collective efforts regarding peace and unification for Cyprus does materialize, and that's something that I'll never give up on. I'll always be involved with that in the future.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, amazing. And I can see absolutely you'll be an asset to anybody who can help you to reach that goal. And I don't think it'll be long before you get there either, because you are amazing, really amazing. And so I guess my final question is a bit more out there, but it's one that I like to sort of delve in and just sort of find out a little bit more about what you think could change the world. And so if there was just one thing that you could change in the world, what would that be and why?
I'm kind of sneaky with my answer. And if I could change one thing, it would be the eradication of mistreatment. And I choose this answer because it's technically one thing, but it's an umbrella term for covering most of human, animal and planetary suffering, which is of course what we all want the world to be free from. Yeah. Mistreatment often interlinks with many issues, for example, climate injustice, racial inequality, sexism, and intersectionality is key when working towards the eradication of mistreatment, discrimination and human rights. So it's one answer, but they're all linked together, because one issue can't be tackled without focusing on all mistreatment, really. So that's my answer.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And Absolutely, it's all encompassing, and we know that it's all interlinked. It's about changing the ecosystem, and it's about changing the culture, and really focusing on our future leaders, of which you are definitely one of them. So thank you so much, Phoebe.
Thank you so much.
We'll include all of the links to everything, so please click through. If you can support, please do so. Everything that Phoebe's working on is really important and is going to create real impact on the planet and the world. So please help. Thank you, Phoebe, so much. It's a real pleasure to have you.